Troy Williamson defends his British Super Welterweight Championship against the pretty boy Josh Kelly. Who wins? Find out Friday, December the 2nd, 9 p.m, live and free on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something. Completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm joined by Gareth A. Davies. As you can see, we're at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Did you have a shower this morning, Gareth?
Yeah, and I got really scented. I always shower about 10 minutes before I go to a press conference if I can. Do you know, it's funny, I spoke to David Adelaide. You're talking about the Dillian Whyte thing from the other night. I spoke to David Adelaide. It's a theme now, of course. And he said he likes to get washed at home, likes to be nicely scented before. We were talking about this on BT Sport on Tuesday. Likes to be nicely scented before he goes to the ring. Likes to smell good. I think it's a really interesting theme. Boxers of the past, and this was my whole reason. I don't know if I explained it to you yet. My whole reason behind it was boxers and fighters of the past didn't used to wash for a week sometimes because they wanted those scents on them before they went to have a fight. So yeah, I mean, what was meant to be being slightly different has probably been misinterpreted a little bit, but you know, it was just a look Dillian Whyte gave me on Saturday night. Anyway,
I had to ask because I showed you this yesterday in my group chat. If you,
loads of people want to know fight showers and fight. What am I supposed to be answering?
That's from
people want more.
From Charlie Fry. Get Gareth on Zoom today. Ask him why he wants to know if Whyte showers on fight day.
Well, it was just because I came up with a different kind of question. It just it elicits another part of the brain working. It's a question he won't have been asked before. You know, and there's nothing wrong with asking a different question because it gets the brain working in a different way. It was probably the wrong. If I can be recidivist, I'd like to go back, and I probably wouldn't have asked Dillian that in that moment as he was walking to the dressing room. But I had it in my mind on the way in, as just trying to open a new avenue for an interview. And Coogan made a lot of it as well at the time, and helped get that reaction out of Dillian, who I thought, and you'll probably ask me, and I'll just preempt it. He just eked out a victory on Saturday night against Jermaine Franklin. I had him winning 7-5. He took the 10th, 11th and 12th, but it was a very close fight up to that point.
He spoke to Shane Fury. He thought he lost, Dillian Whyte.
Yeah, a lot of people did think he lost. But Anthony Joshua was sitting there ringside. He wasn't particularly fulsome in saying he wanted to fight Whyte. I managed to get hold of Anthony Joshua just for a brief second afterwards while he was signing autographs and stuff, and he said, yeah, why not Dillian Whyte? I don't need a warm-up. Hopefully he does fight him next year. Anthony will have been sitting there thinking, no, I haven't got too much to worry about. But Dillian was, as he said, trying a different style. If that had been a 15-round old-school fight, he'd have stopped him. But Jermaine Franklin's stock rose as well. Yeah, it was a tough fight for Dillian. He had to work really, really hard. He laboured through that. That vigour that he showed in the last 3 rounds, I think he could have shown earlier on. You know, Franklin was a lot better than people made him out to be.
Well, that's one part and block of the heavyweight division that's going to unfold next year with Joshua and Whyte. See what happens there. At the top of the division, we've got Tyson Fury defending his WBC world title. Mad to think it's against here against Derek Chisora, who gave Tyson 10 years ago or something a British title shot when Derek was Frank's boy. And Tyson was coming in the challenge, and now he's giving them a world title shot. Crazy times.
Yeah, they are crazy, and you know the thing is that is 8 years ago. They're both very different men and different fighters now. I remember at the XL Arena that night, it was a pea soup fog afterwards. You couldn't find your way out of there. But that second fight, Tyson Fury, you'd have to say schooled Derek that night. Derek was different physically then, not as resilient as he is now, not as up for it. Derek's very impressive this week. There's something impressive about him, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's a massive opportunity for him. There have been upsets in the heavyweight division. We understand Alexander Usyk's going to be ringside as well.
Tyson's going to slap him in the mouth, according to him.
Yeah, look, I think the thing is with Tyson Fury, I've tried myself. You can't get an answer out of him about Tyson Fury, about Alexander Usyk yet, until he's dealt with Derek Chisora, and that's promising and that's good around the mindset that he's carrying. Because don't overlook Derek, don't overlook the occasion, don't overlook an ankle injury, and whatever it could be, whatever it might be. You can't write Derek Chisora off completely. It's a heavyweight fight more than any other division. you get an upset through one punch, and it's boxing. So all the complaints about, it's not that enticing a fight. We're here. There's been a big theme this week, and I've been involved in that theme as well, as make the most of Tyson Fury's while he's here. Make the most of Derek Chisora while he's here, he's been saying today as well. It's true. There's an era right now. They're not going to be much longer than 2 years, all these guys. Wilder, Joshua, Fury, Chisora, White. They'll be gone.
Even Joe Joyce. I mean, he's at 38, right?
Even Joe Joyce. Make the most of it now, and let's hope these guys do get to fight each other over the next 2-3 years, because they'll be gone and it'll be over.
Gareth just spoke to George Warren, and he said that he sees no issue in terms of the IBF blocking that undisputed fight with Fury and Usyk. That situation that Calla and Eddie were talking about on social media a couple of weeks ago. In your opinion, is the IBF going to be a hindrance?
What, do you mean?
Is that Hrgovic mandatory going to be enforced? Because in George's opinion, the WBA with Daniel Dubois is the next governing body to go. Apparently, according to him.
Are you saying the belts could be gone by the time Usyk and Fury fight? Well, I don't think it matters, as long as that fight happens, frankly.
I think Saudi Arabia want undisputed, don't they? That's what they've invested in.
Yeah, look, Usyk's here on... I spoke to Alexander Krasiuk, Usyk's promoter. I wanted to check that he really is going to be here. Alexander's coming in on Friday, tomorrow night. If this goes out today, it's Thursday. Look, he's here for a reason. Eye to eye, eyeball to eyeball. They are looking to get this fight on. As long as they move quickly and sign the fight, then there'll be no issue with the IBF and WBA. But who knows? I don't know. If those two fight, everyone knows it's the number one and the number two in the world. So it can still be called for the lineal belt, can't it? Or for number one in the world. It'd be great to get the 4 belts together. Spoke to Lennox Lewis last night. Len's looking forward to it. He said you can't write Derek Chisora off. It's... I don't know what the answer to that is. It may play out that they lose the IBF and the WBA belts going into that fight if it happens late February, early March in the Middle East, but they may not. We'll just have to wait and see.
I'm sure the governing bodies will be involved in that and be a part of that occasion. I know you've got to shoot, so last thing to talk about, please, Gareth. Yesterday it came out that Chris Eubank Jr., he declared, and Calla Sauerland actually stated, both of them, that they weren't aware of Conor Benn's first failed drugs test. They were aware of the second one, but they weren't aware of the first one. So get your reaction to that, please. Yeah, I've spoken to Chris Eubank Jr. myself this week as well. And he has said that I wouldn't have taken that fight if I'd known about it. Because there was a long time for it to work through. He said it's a very bizarre couple of months looking back on it. He still hopes the fight happens, but it's going to be at middleweight now. If it happens, it's going to be at middleweight. He's not going down to 157. It's going to be at 160 if that fight happens. Obviously, Conor's got to clear his name. That's still to go through. We're waiting to hear from that. It's cast a pall over the end of the year, that the whole way that's played out. It's a bigger boxing story than just Conor. We need transparency in the sport. That's all I'm going to say. We need transparency going forward. Because if they'd said there was this adverse finding, we need a hearing, it might have been rescued by October by then. End of. Gareth, thank you very much for your time at Tottenham Hotspur, and I'll make sure I shower tomorrow morning.
Yeah, make sure you shower. Hang on, one more, I think. Hang on, because got the matching vape today. Not deliberate. See ya.
That's the thumbnail sorted. Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Midnight on Channel 5. Troy Williamson defends his British Super Welterweight Championship against the pretty boy Josh Kelly. Who wins? Find out Friday, December the 2nd, 9 p.m, live and free on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife and saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.